With a glowy makeup look, the base stays matte and poreless. So I'm starting with this Judy Doll foundation. This foundation photographs really well and is super full coverage, but it can get cakey and it does feel heavier, so I'm not using concealer with it. Next, I'm using a brightening loose powder to set the foundation. This is a crucial step since it'll give you that smooth, doll-like matte skin and prevent the foundation from transferring. Let's do the lip makeup next before contouring. Matte and dewy lips are equally popular in doughy makeup. If you want a soft, moussey matte lip, I would go for Perry Paris Ink The Velvet Lip Stain. And for dewy lips, I'd recommend Perry Paris Ink Mood Glowy Tint. I'm first applying shade number 3, Rose in Mind, which is a muted, nudish fake color. This has the perfect mix of warm and cool nude tones, so it's a really great My Lips But Better color for neutral undertones. The correct way to use this according to Perry Paris is to apply the lip tint onto exfoliated lips, let it sit for 30 seconds, wipe off any excess product to reveal the stain, and then reapply it wherever you want more pigment. This gives you 2 layers of stain so it lasts longer, and you can repeat those steps for an even more pigmented stain. To contour the lips, I'm applying a cool toned cherry pink color, number 5 cherry so wet in the center. M-shaped lips are preferred in Chinese makeup, so I'm staining the center of my lips in that shape and pulling the corners up. Now that I have the stain I want, I'm reapplying Rose in Mind for the dewy look. These have the thin serumy consistency of a lip tint, so you can layer them for that moisturized glossy look without the stickiness, and you can even use them on your cheeks for a glowy blushing look. I'm gonna finish up the lips with a little bit of concealer to contour them. And this is the final dewy lip. If you want to get this lip combo, I'll leave a link in my description box. These are some of the best selling glowy lip tints on Amazon and they're already pretty affordable, but Perry Paris is doing their biggest sale right now, so make sure to use my link before they sell out. Next, we'll go over contour. Chinese makeup takes a very artistic approach to contour, which again reminds me a lot of Netflix's Arcane. Similar to how Arcane's artists use high contrast between paintbrush strokes here, the contour style uses sharp contrast with very little blending between the light and shadows to create a new bone structure. You can see this even clearer here. Using a painting or a cartoon as a reference when it comes to doughy makeup is great because it'll give you a pretty good idea of where the contour and highlights are supposed to go. Of course, you can customize this based on your features, but here's where I'll be contouring. This makes a huge difference in adding dimension to your face, especially if you have flatter features. Starting with a cool tone sculpting powder, I'm contouring the lips, nose, and brow bone, and then blending the blush into the contour to add a more realistic warmth. You don't want to blend the contour out too much, it should look slightly harsh. I'm gonna blend the blush out onto the cheeks, eyes, and nose so everything's even toned. Now it's time to add highlights, so take a matte brightening powder and start carving out the new bone structure. This powder we're using should not be shimmery, it should be a completely matte powder that's brighter than your skin tone. Here's without versus with highlights. This makes a huge difference. I'm also using the brightening powder to draw a small rectangle on the tip of my nose and then using a shimmery highlighter on the top half of that rectangle. It should be rectangular, not circular, because we want harsh lines here. I'm also using a highlighter on the very inner corners of my eyes. Moving on to the eyes, I'm starting with double eyelid tape. I do already have double eyelids, but they're slightly hooded on the outer corner, so I'm applying the tape there to lift the hooded area. We want the eyes to look big and elongated, so I'm outlining the inner corner and sketching out a wing. Make sure to also fill in the lash line and waterline. For more cartoony eyes, we want everything to be outlined, so I'm lightly contouring the lower lash line and drawing the ASL for the smiling eyes look. I'm not going to go too in depth on ASL here since I have an entire University episode on it, but I'll link that episode on the screen for you. Moving on to lashes, I'm first going to curl them. For mascara, we want to use something lightweight to keep the lashes curled so they don't separate from the falsies we're going to apply. It's super important to use false lashes that have thick sections like this for doing makeup. These give your eyes a more drawn-on look since you can see the individual separated lashes. I like using these strip lashes because they're so quick to apply. You can also use individual lashes to customize it more to your eye shape, but it does take a lot of time and patience. For lower lashes, I'm using a lengthening mascara and then pinching them into separate sections. At this point in doing makeup, a lot of tutorials will draw on the lower lashes, but this only really looks good when your under eyes are flatter. If you have any puffiness under your eyes, they won't look as realistic, so I would recommend using fake lower lashes instead. Since we want that tension on the eyes, we're gonna keep the brows pretty light and natural. After finishing eye makeup, I felt the contour could be a little bit more dramatic, so I'm building it up with Makeup Forever liners. And then this is optional, but I added some beauty marks. Next, it's time for color contacts. I wore enlarging lenses throughout this video, but here's a comparison with versus.